Album Concept Hour. The Album Concept Hour. It's the Album Concept Hour.
Welcome, everybody, to the Album Concept Hour podcast. We are back, baby, after our... we took 1 week to do the holiday stuff. And we're back. We're here...
After our 100 episodes.
After 100 episodes. This is
101!
102 right here.
102?
Well, because I released another thing as 101. So this is technically 102. Like the sequel to 101 Dalmatians, the live-action one. That was... not great. But yeah, we are on our 102nd episode, and we thought, why not go into the well of albums that has just been kind of sitting on the cutting room floor. And we
have talked about this in other podcasts.
Yeah, we have hinted about this one for a while. This is
time to get it done.
We got to talk about it. We're going to be talking about Garth Brooks's The Life of Chris Gaines. And you heard John already, and you know the other guest that we have today. It's our guest superstar, Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
VP?
What is up?
What's up, man? And just first and foremost, I apologize for making you listen to this particular album.
Although I would like to say that this is Trevor's fault. He made this a thing. Now we're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
You poked at the bear too much.
It's the only reason That's the only reason I got on this is because
I
was
know. It's time.
Yeah.
It's
it was part of the stipulations that Trevor also listened to the album. So yeah, Trevor did listen to the album with us. All 13 tracks of Chris Gaines' career. It's also known as Chris Gaines' greatest hits. As what it came out, as it first came out.
Well, see, let's
versus
backstory.
What? Versus what?
Trevor. Let's do a little backstory on this. So apparently, this whole original project was supposed to be a movie about an Australian rock star who started from nothing and came up and then had a bunch of hits. And this was supposed to be basically a poor man's star movie.
Poor man's That Thing You Do?
No. Well, that too. Or
Spinal Tap.
What was the one?
Better
with,
music documentary?
With Bradley Cooper and Lady
A
Gaga.
Star is Born.
A Star
it's
is
supposed
Born.
to be a poor man's A Star is Born.
Well, why doesn't he at
much.
least sound Australian then?
Because
that doesn't really come
anything
into
right.
it. Yeah,
and that's why this failed epically.
Well, no, it's because of
it's
because of the horrible accident he was in, and he had the plastic surgery and everything. I think he lost his accent as well.
Yeah.
And he gained a soul patch.
Yeah, well, the soul patch is surgically
bangs.
grifted on, from what I can tell. So there's a grand backstory to this character, Chris Gaines. It's probably the most infamous concept album I think that we're tackling. It was very hard to find.
Because it's a concept on an album, like a real album. It's a concept on a real album.
Well, the concept is an entire person that he tried to pass off as real, which is the most bizarre aspect.
Watch the SNL episode, people. You'll understand.
I was gonna say
he was the music host. I forgot about that.
He hosted as Garth Brooks, and then said, Chris Gaines. He had skits about it where he's like, Chris Gaines is going to be here. He's real.
That's
me.
Right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, real stuff, by the way. Look it up.
So this stuff is, you can find it if you dig for it, but for the most part,
all of us,
Chris Gaines has been scrubbed from the internet.
Yes.
So
As it
in order to find the Chris Gaines album that we listened to today, I had to go to musicmp3.ru. So I'm assuming it's hosted outside of the United States. I'm assuming maybe Russia. So if you want to listen to this album, you can't find it on Spotify, or you really have to dig for it.
We are begging you not to. Listen
we
to
are
our warnings from
listen
to the warnings from this podcast, please.
Yeah. And I also recommend if you really want to dive into this for some, awful reason, then I do recommend finding the VH1 behind the music thing. You can find it on Vimeo, I think. I watched the first 20 minutes of it so far. We might do a reaction to it because it's fucking ridiculous. And but it's we're gonna try to kind of dial it into what the album is also about, though, because there's the whole Chris Gaines backstory and the story with the movie that they were trying to make but never could make, which somehow resulted in, I think, the publicity stunt that he then pulled, which is like a joke on like everybody, but
he wanted
himself,
people to
ultimately
believe that Chris Gaines was real. Why they made him Australian?
That's the weirdest part about it, is that he didn't. He ditched the joke when it became obvious to people. When that's the point at which you need to follow through with it. Anyway, you'll understand what we mean when we get through this.
I swear to God, if you're a real fan of Garth Brooks, you listen to some of these and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, and just a little more context before we get to the first track. I know this is a lot to dump on you before the first track,
digest.
guys, but
you might have to listen to this twice.
Yeah, maybe you know what? Listen to this 2 or 3 times, honestly. But this is also happening. This is happening during a rocky time in Garth Brooks' life. He's going through a divorce as well. So, on top of trying to make this movie that failed, he was trying this other persona, and
he
honestly,
just failed.
Honestly, the only thing that makes any of these lyrics or anything happening in this music make sense to me is the context that he is going through a divorce, because it all seems
Garth
to be
Brooks,
from
not
the
Chris Gaines,
from the perspective of a divorcee that is not accepting their situation. So,
and honestly, when you put it like that, I mean, it really does make sense. I mean, because this seems like midlife crisis type stuff, like this.
Yeah, hardcore midlife crisis energy here.
Yeah.
So I can understand kind of why he wants to scrub it from the internet. It's probably like a little more vulnerable than he actually intended it to be. But here we are, though. It is a concept album, and we have to talk about it. So
it's time.
Yeah. Without further ado, this is the first track from the life of Chris Gaines, and this track is called "That's the Way I Remember It."
Oh,
God. To my heart and soul, this is the way. Story has to be told. That's the way I remember it.
See, this is literally like Garth Brooks light. That whole clip, and the whole song really is just Garth Brooks light, and it's pop, and it's just not. It just doesn't seem like a full effort was even put into it.
Well, no. What I'll say, though, to kind of push back on that a little bit, is that the first couple of tracks kind of lull you in a little bit. Like, you don't realize what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
But like this, okay, that clip we just played sounds all right? It sounds alone.
It sounds enough like Garth Brooks to let it go.
Yeah.
If it was released as a Garth Brooks track, I'd have let it go.
Yeah, but what you're going to find as we listen to this album is he's pulling from so many different 90s I guess genre things, and it eventually just all sounds like pieces of other songs. You'll find out what we mean in a couple tracks probably. But these first couple tracks are they're pretty well written, pretty well performed.
Yeah, exactly. And even Childish Gambino covers one of the first 2 tracks.
Yeah, that's true. The second one.
I mean,
I did not know, by the way.
His cover is actually really good. Yeah, it's actually really good. I mean, the song itself is not poorly written.
You see, that proves the strength of the song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's the first two. It's in the first two songs, and then after that, it's like you progress, and it's just like, oh my God! Please stop adding stuff. Please stop adding more stuff.
There's another one.
Well, yeah,
please stop now.
Well, because like the weirdest thing about it is like, you know, ultimately this is supposed to be a greatest hits album of this fictional Chris Gaines.
Span a career of one person.
And, you know, I think that on that front, they kind of nail it. But like, it's also as an album on its own, without the context, it is like, you know, it's like if That Thing You Do came out with just the soundtrack, but no movie, you know, it would be like, well, this is just a bunch of like almost Beatles songs, you know, but like with the movie, it's like, oh, this is fun. It's nostalgic for the Beatles.
Oh yeah. This is their next hit. This is the next thing they did. Yeah. That's
the most bizarre thing about this project is the lack of like
the reverse flow
of purpose or direction with the whole fucking thing.
The idea that the soundtrack was supposed to hype the movie, but because of the way they did it, none of it worked, you know?
And I mean, I got to assume, look from the VH1 pieces that I saw, the movie didn't work probably because he's not really an actor. And I think that after probably a few scenes, you know, getting back the dailies, they were probably like, he can't really, this isn't really his strong suit. We're going to have to pull the plug on this. And then...
You can't do a whole movie like this.
Yeah. It really should have been, you know, maybe he was involved in the soundtrack. This
hour-long
like,
thing was hard.
Yeah. It sounds like it could have been a thing, you know, but it was
a good idea on paper.
Yeah, and the first listen through is not
biggest
bad.
Star of the '90s. Fucking second most albums sold behind the fucking Beatles in America.
Yeah. This is peak like Garth Brooks. So, I mean, he is like
ended his career
on the mountain of like, you know, he's like on that high, I think, in his career. And this is he thinks he could do anything. But yeah, we're not going to talk too much about the lyrics here in this album, but we'll touch on them a little bit. They're kind of like, you know, typical.
We'll talk about
like,
the good when it comes along, but really, we're here for the bad.
That's a good description for this episode.
We'll talk about the good too. There's a golden nugget in this shit.
Yeah, there is like a really raw story about trying to make it work in a failed marriage that he's just not ready to accept. It really does have that kind of almost, you know, 90s Mrs. Doubtfire divorced dad energy.
This whole thing is 90s. It's like he
you remember
cherry-picked 90s stuff and did a bad job with it.
But you remember how also in the 90s there was a lot of movies about divorced dads going through being divorced.
Yeah, that was a thing throughout the 80s. You know, all those 70s marriages got divorced.
Well, yeah, there was, you know, Kramer versus Kramer is the first one probably, and then a bunch of them in the 90s. So it's like, the last kind of hurrah for divorced dads.
Let's move on to the second track.
Yeah. This next track is called Lost in You.
Head over heels and it shows. I've played every field, I suppose. But there's something about you when you're around. Baby, I have found I get lost.
I think this is the hit.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is the one Childish Gambino covered.
See, this is him trying to sound like Nick Lachey in 98 Degrees.
Yeah, or Boys to Men.
Yeah,
a little bit
to Men right in there too.
In here.
Yep.
I don't know. I got a lot of.
You
George
ever seen the music video?
This is
him in the horrible wig.
He does channel
like.
The wig.
With that little hair piece, just like the 90s.
Yeah. So, can we talk about that for a second?
Waff?
So, his possibly the biggest misstep of this entire project
wig
is Chris Gaines' getup.
Thank God. Yes. Let's
Chris
talk
Gaines
about this
looks like an emo clown. I was saying. He looks kind of like a him guy, like a member of him, maybe.
Yeah.
You remember him?
No, I do not.
And it's Bam Margera. He was a big him fan. He had a him tattoo on it, but
I don't know. He's the worst.
It's just the worst caricature of what a middle-aged dad thinks that an alternative rocker looks
what
like.
The kids want. This is what the kids want.
This is a divorced dad again.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's he's not doing favors for himself in this situation. I think a lot of his friends are gonna be siding with the wife.
What about the soul
on this
patch?
album? And this, okay, I could deal with the soul patch if it wasn't for the wig. You know what I mean? Like,
deal with the bangs.
It's the bangs and the soul patch, and and what doesn't he have those cuffs on, those bracelets or whatever they are?
Yeah, he's wearing some kind of tight version of like goth clothes or like track
those
pants,
leather cuffs and shit.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck he thought with that.
If you got any questions, just Google a picture of Chris Gaines or biggest douchebag of the '90s. You got it right there.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, they have all of these pictures of this younger version of the character Chris Gaines, right? They have this alternative kid that's a completely different person that they just, they put, here's the craziest thing about the story. They decide part of the story is that he gets in a car crash or motorcycle crash or something after his friend from the band dies. And he's just, depressed and stuff. And he gets reconstructive surgery that makes him look like the Chris Gaines from the cover. And that's the story, that the in-canon story for why he looks different from the pictures before. I don't know who the pictures are from the guy before. I don't know who the fuck that is. But it's definitely a kid that was in a band at the time that he just, like, jacked. It was like, all right, you're Chris Gaines now. Anyway, sorry, we're only on track 2, and I'm kind of like, it's kind of like unraveling. But this is a very strange situation that I'm still wrapping my mind around.
This is the hit.
And yeah, it's a good song.
The one song that has
a great tune.
The actual merit.
But he looks like just, I don't know. It's because like it's not quite emo time yet. This isn't the 2000s. This is 99. So like, it's like
post grunge.
Yeah,
but it's not even. But it's not though. That's the thing.
No, it's if it sounded like that, if it actually sounded alternative, that'd be one thing. But like, he's making this caricature of alternative without actually paying homage to it in any way.
I think he listened to one too many Creed albums back in the day.
Right?
Yeah.
Much.
Some of that lines right up with some of these. Yeah.
Timeline.
Totally.
The timeline lines up.
Creed and Nickelback.
Oh,
he was
Creed
just like
is 99. This is the same shit.
Exactly. Hey, Creed and Nickelback, they were onto something. I'm gonna do something just like that.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that maybe he's trying to get back with his wife in this album, pretty much. Like, there's a lot of
like this effort before he says particular. Yes to Trisha. So he got married to her right quick after.
Yeah. I think that he was
having
pretty...
a little bit of fooling around there. Fool.
Hey, maybe. I mean, never mind. I'm not going to make that joke. But I think this one's about. I think this one's definitely about him trying to get back with his wife. Because it's got, I mean, it's the sexiest one. It's got that R&B vibe. It's not
vocals.
Written by him, which is nice. It's written by Gordon Kennedy, Wayne Kirkpatrick, and Tommy Sims, along with Tony Arata and Mike Moore and Andrew Logan. There's some really good musicians behind this. I gotta say, like, that's probably the part I hate the most is how much I enjoy the production. Because it's like there's a lot of money in this. There's a lot of really crisp stuff. All of the fade outs are kind of, they leave something to be desired. But
That's probably the worst part about this album is the fade outs.
Yeah, sometimes they're just really abrupt. I don't know. I like a slightly longer fade out, guys. But yeah, this next track is called "Snow in July," and yeah, I think he's finally starting to open up about his icy marriage. How could it snow in July? Well, you led me to believe that you found everything you needed in my home.
George Michael.
Yeah, very much George Michael on that one.
How could you have snow in July?
Yeah, Trevor typed in the chat earlier, George Michael ass when we were listening to this song. So that's accurate. Yeah, he's again, not bad production, but it's the cracks are starting to maybe show a little bit.
It's just like it's the thing where it's like if somebody would be doing this like for their career, like this was their track on the album, you know, like they would throw a little more behind it. Like somebody put the brakes on some of these tracks, you know? Like it's
but
it's
about
like
a minute too late for
like,
some of them.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. This could have been this would have been a tight, like a good 30-minute album. But it's like a mediocre 50-minute album.
5-minute album?
Yeah. Like if it was really like greatest hits, at least a couple of them would be kind of a little shorter. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Well, I thought about that the whole time too. It's like what you were saying about the fade outs. You know, it's like, come on, man. Some of these could have been clipped down to like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah,
2.5 to 3 minutes. You know,
definitely.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's like
and that could have been some of your hits too, especially. But again, he's a country singer and he's trying to do pop.
Do you think you get paid by
light rock? I call it rock light.
Do you think you get paid by like the amount of time your song is on? Like, do you think you get paid more for a 4-minute song than a 3-minute song?
No, because originally, I mean, maybe that is the way now it is, but like I know for the longest time, like that was like a big thing during the '60s. Like artists would want to like record stuff for like 7 minutes, and it would have to get played on like alternative radio.
It's more shorter. Shorter would be more.
Radio wouldn't take anything under like over like 3 minutes. Like
I was gonna say, I thought consistently songs have been getting shorter and shorter because of people's attention spans and stuff like that. That's why it's like if you look at
that's always been the formula they like 4 to 5 minute, 3 to 5 minute song is what they like.
No, I get it. But I'm saying but look at songs on the radio and now stuff like where it's like a lot of them are cut down to like you're looking at like 2 minutes. You're looking at shorter than that sometimes because you know,
it's all about what you can pack into an hour. You know.
Well, yeah.
These millennials and their TikToks, dude. They're just
and I've heard
they just
like
need
30 seconds.
They just need enough music to fit inside of a small TikTok video. It's destroying the industry.
Them TikTokers.
Them TikTokers.
And they pick the
ticking
catchiest part of the song, so it ruins it.
They're
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. No.
Listen,
instead of just talking about terrible other
you're
songs,
spending every day on your own, and here it goes. I'm just a
our hot takes on TikTok.
And life is a nightmare.
I'm just a kid,
and I know it's not fair.
I know you guys don't want to talk about Chris Gaines, but I feel like we got to circle back.
Yeah, we're kind of drifting away right now, aren't we?
All right, it's time.
Oh no!
Next.
Drifting away. It blows and nobody knows where it's going to. Drifting away. It blows and nobody knows what it's gonna do. You see my heart at night.
So first of all, praise the '90s R&B.
Yes.
Because God bless all of it. All right.
I gotta say,
it's beautiful stuff.
Best chorus in the album, personally.
But
best fucking chorus. That's just
Garth
silky
Brooks.
Smooth.
Why didn't you just release that as Garth Brooks?
Yeah, that's true. He could have taken some of the
tracks.
good elements of this and just been like, "Hey, I'm just a little more rock now."
I don't have to be critical,
you know,
when you're just trying to be something else.
Like
it's kind of like when Kid Rock was like, "Hey, I want to be a little bit more country now, like just reverse."
Yeah.
Like that's fine. Just keep
straight up about it.
Just exactly. Shoot me straight here.
He had to be fucking weird about it and just put on that wig, and like he could have done it fine, or he should have either done it that like in a different outfit, or just leaned into the joke and done more cringy stuff along the lines of the joke. I mean,
I don't think he could get more cringy than this, bro. I don't
know. After watching the VH1 documentary, I think that there could be a whole movie just in that vein, because it's like watching This Is Spinal Tap. Like, with all the context, it's like, what the fuck are these people saying? Because like they get some like bigger names in this documentary thing. Like, I can't remember the name of them, but there was like a big record producer that they actually get on the documentary. So like if you just came upon it on VH1, who knows, you might believe it. But like, oh man. Anyway, I don't want to go out too much about the video. We'll watch it at some point. But I like this track though. I did enjoy the chorus for this track, which I think
this was one of the better ones again.
Yeah, and this is fully
one of the better ones.
Yeah, fully written by Tommy Sims. So I think Sims is
beautiful
probably
R&B work. You know, it really sounds aesthetically good.
And I will say
especially that chorus and that background.
He is in some of the best tracks in the album. So I think he might have been one of the better songwriters in the studio.
Maybe he should have gotten a shot to do some of this stuff cheap.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe I don't know much about him. Maybe this was a launching off point, or maybe he already was an accomplished guy.
Well, I'll tell you.
He was part of
believe it or
the
not,
Christian rock band Whiteheart. And he left to become a studio musician. Okay.
I was going to say, some of this has aspects of like Christian rock to it, so I guess that would stand reason for sure.
Yeah, because he worked with Michael Bolton, Amy Grant, Kelly Clarkson, Carmen. Carmen! Wow, that is someone that only Christian rock people know.
I was about to say, I have no idea who that is.
Oh, he had he did a good cover of "Devil Went Down to Georgia," I think, and he had like a music video that was like a more Christian version of "Devil Went Down to Georgia." If it wasn't Christian enough,
I prefer Primus's version.
What?
I said I prefer Primus's version.
I don't think I've actually heard that.
Primus's version of "Devil Went Down to Georgia."
No, I don't think I have.
It's very greasy and 90s bass grunge, so it's like.
That sounds like my kind of "Devil Went Down to Georgia." Honestly,
it's pretty greasy. It's not like terrible or anything, but
and it's not too far away from what they do. You know?
Yeah, I know. That's why I like Primus. Primus.
I do have a ticket to see Primus, but the last show rescheduled. So we're supposed to be seeing I'm supposed to be seeing Primus at some point performing Rush. So whenever that.
Wait, so they're playing Rush's music?
Primus was touring playing Rush until last several variants came through.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I was this close. We were the date that it stopped.
Yeah, Primus has done a few covers before, so I mean, like that's pretty righteous.
Oh, it's going to be sick. It's going to be really fucking cool. But yeah, this is another song I think where again he's trying to channel. He kind of oscillates between like, oh, please forgive me, and I'm going to be fine on my own, you gold digger. He kind of doesn't. It's not a huge mystery at the end of this that things went the way they did. Oh, speaking of the way things went, here's The Way of the Girl.
You changed the world for her graces, but she keeps changing her mind. It's just the way of the girl, just the way of the girl.
Listen, I'm gonna try and do a rock song. I mean, Garth, you're like tinge enough with your country stuff. Listen, I'm gonna do a rock song.
I got things to say. I'm really mad at my wife isn't talking to me anymore, and I just need an outlet.
This is gonna be my thing. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be so great at it.
And you know what? Chris Gaines, he has sex with all sorts of ladies, and he's fine, and he's not mad.
Yeah, and he's gonna play guitar.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
be really
great.
cool.
I'm gonna be a really cool rock artist. You'll see. You'll see.
Yeah. That's pretty much this
all right,
entire.
Just keep playing what you're playing.
It's the way of the girl. It's the way of the girl. This is definitely when it completely derails. What were you gonna say, Trevor?
No, I just said no to all of it.
Just all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
All of it.
Yeah. This is a really first of all, the way of the girl, is a take on the way of the samurai, I think, right? That's the only.
Don't give that much credit. The samurai were way cooler. Don't know.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so kind of cringy, because this is a very kind of incel-y kind of song to me. It's you change the world for her graces, but she keeps changing the world. It's just the way of the girl. Kind of that whole you can't understand it. It's just a mystery. It couldn't be me at all being an asshole, it really gives me, those kinds of vibes. And being in an alternative, quote unquote, context is also off base. Cause the alternative movement was pretty feminist and female power and stuff. So for the most part. And so,
trying to add your male sympathies in there aren't helping.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It definitely makes you think well, this guy's not an alternative guy. What's his deal with his getup?
Pop to be alternative, but he's trying to look alternative.
Yeah, he could if he looked differently in his character, this would work. Again, it's mostly the awful outfit that someone put together for him.
Yeah, the emo look does not work for Garth Brooks. He did not pick the right pattern for what he should be doing.
Wait, what's that Black Hole Sun guy? R.I.P. Chris Cornell, R.I.P.
Yeah.
He kind of does have a Chris Cornell-y kind of vibe a little bit. Maybe he saw Chris Cornell one time and he was like, "That's it. That's Chris Gaines."
I'm gonna take his name.
I'm gonna take it.
Chris Cornell combined with Smashing Pumpkins.
Well, and I mean, does anybody know where Garth Brooks was the night of Chris Cornell's death? I don't know. But this song is not great. It's not.
We're starting on the downhill.
I feel like if he could have just left this entire
song
song
roller
off,
coaster, this would be when it was getting exciting, but it's not.
Yeah, no,
so,
exactly. Because we've been saying mostly positive stuff about the last 4 tracks. It's just this one, just a real dud, just a real dud, guys. But we're gonna move on to another track though. This is Unsigned Letter.
Is she gonna start the match? That'll surely light the flame. Is she carrying a torch for love and pain? Is she gonna break the locks? Take a look inside the box, knowing that you could be least Pandora's shame.
Yeah, so that's Unsigned Letter. Maybe an unsigned divorce letter. Because you won't accept that it's over.
He's really trying to be Goo Goo Doll about it, though. I'll tell you what.
I feel like this is the first part in the album where you realize that he is ripping off other songs, Because there's several points in this song where you're like, that sounds almost exactly like a chorus from this one. And this sounds like a chorus from this artist. I don't have any specifics, guys, because it's the 90s, so it's a bit ethereal. But if you
In
do
the
know,
90s
if you
really
do
was
know,
spread about that.
Yeah.
It was all about the number of artists.
Yeah.
Not about the quality of the music all the time.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
That's why you got so many gold
Part of the
nuggets,
reason
you know?
I enjoyed this on the first listen through so much is because it is kind of just a bunch of 90s sounds mushed into one album. And it's kind of nostalgic in that way because I'm a 90s kid.
It came out in 99, so it literally, they had the whole 90s.
Yeah.
And like even the late 80s into the 90s to like cherry pick the sounds that they wanted to use for this album.
Yeah.
And that's what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like the worst part. They had material sitting there in front of them for them to do an album of an artist and they screwed it up and they didn't pull the trigger when they needed to sometimes. And
I think it's the problem is I think they're trying to frame it as an alternative.
That's my TED Talk.
An alternative guy, right? Like this is not alternative music.
No.
You know, like that's the like the part where everyone turns their head and like
I think you hit the nail on the
choice.
head. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. This is like somebody that has only ever seen alternative music or like goth people on TV, and they're like trying to
I can do that.
They're trying to 21 Jump Street them. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fit in with the kids these days. You know, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He is pulling a 21 Jump Street on younger rock musicians. Like I was also thinking watching the documentary thing, it would have fit this commentary would have fit more at the end of the 80s because there was a lot of excess in rock and roll and the character that he puts out there is like this guy that's obsessed with sex and he's just everyone loves him and he's just living
not even his wife loves him.
Stereotypical no exactly. It's just, man, he's ego tripping so hard at this point in his life. But the song isn't a bad track though. I will say, I mean, it's a little, I don't know, the way he's talking to whatever girl he's talking to is a bit infantilizing, but, the only benefit of the doubt I can give is that, he does have daughters, so this could be a song about his daughter, perhaps, going through changes. I don't know why it needs to be in the middle of this Chris Gaines album, but, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. There's a lot of layers.
What needs to be in the middle of this Chris Gaines album, let me tell you.
Like, I think he wants there to be, like, layers on top of this, so it's not so obvious what this is about. But, like, if you just know he's going through a divorce, pieces just fall into place,
Things start to make sense,
Yeah. I mean, this one, maybe is him talking to his wife or him talking to his daughter as a thing in the future. I don't know. Some of these seem like Garth Brooks tracks randomly, so I don't know. This is just a mess, guys. This is just a fucking mess. We're trying to pick up the pieces, guys, as best we can, but as Chris Gaines would say, it don't matter to the sun.
What can I say? What can I do? We're still in love.
Do better.
So why you?
So again, going back to that kind of incel-y kind of perspective on Way of the Girl, if I'm still in love, why aren't you? Like,
well, and to me, that sounded a bit more actually like Garth Brooks than some of his other songs that he's already had on here.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely
mean,
got
that was a little bit more kind of country, at least in my opinion, where I was like, all right,
no, it definitely sounded more like him.
He's like putting the twang on it in his voice a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is like, if he's trying to hide the fact that he's Garth Brooks, like, he's not doing a great job these last two tracks.
Well, it's better than the last half of this album.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the tracks here. You're right. Well, that's not a great endorsement for sticking around to the last half, but I promise you guys, there's plugs. There's plugs at the end.
Yeah,
and everyone loves plugs.
Stick around for the commentary, and if we haven't lost everyone by this point in time, then I mean, you guys you guys are some real ones. So
You are sticking around for the real stuff.
Yes, this is a story you definitely need to get expound upon with many minutes of exposition.
And who knows? I mean, you know, we could really get into the meat of this album here in the next half too.
Yeah. Let's see what we got lyrics wise here. It's mostly, it seems like he's trying to convince her that she actually is in love with him still. Like, you know, even if you choose to leave, it doesn't matter to the sun, baby. You know, it matters to me. I ain't gonna stop the world if you walk out the door. You'll keep turning like the day before, blah, blah, blah.
God, this is so emo.
So without him singing it, it's like when you're reading it, sounds like Garth Brooks. Like that could be a Garth Brooks song. It's the like the tone that he's singing it in,
he's
like
screwing it all up.
Yeah.
He fucked it up.
He literally is screwing this whole thing up. It's just
well, I was gonna say, you want to talk about his career a little bit, like after this, because I don't know much about his career prior or after.
I'll tell you what his career was. His career was as one of the greatest selling artists of the '90s, probably like one of the top 3.
Yeah.
He's one of the top selling fucking album artists of like the entire United States history. He is one of the greatest live performing artists in history. He puts on a hell of a friggin' show.
He's already been accepted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. He's won Grammys. He's won all sorts of awards. He is literally, as a country music fan of the 90s, a kid who grew up in the 90s with it and knows the history behind all of it. And just he's one of the best, and I love the man.
Well, and what happened? And what happened after this, though?
In the country,
like as far as country lovers, you know,
sounds like he tried to do something different and he failed, and then he.
Well,
retired.
do you remember people reacting to it at all? Like, do you? remember...
and I remember it being all negative because it wasn't.
Did you hear it when it came out?
I was friends with country people. Yes, I was a kid when it came out.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out.
Because, like, that's the thing is, like, but it's also, like, the fact that he didn't follow through with it, I think, maybe, or he leaned too into that look that his
one
fans
hit that was on this wasn't even on country radio. It was on pop radio. The whole thing was handled poorly.
Yeah.
And then it shows. It showed no movie, bad publicity, horrible SNL episode, whole thing. Crash and burn.
Well, yeah, he's trying
ship
to
is dying in the ocean. It's falling to the bottom to hang out with the Titanic. It's over.
That's actually crazy because I'm looking it up on Spotify here because I was trying to see like what his last album was. He doesn't have any of his music on Spotify whatsoever.
Oh yeah. He's one of those artists that really
hates like the streaming services.
Well, he had his he was trying. I heard that he was trying to make his own service at some point, and like,
oh god, another Chris Gaines venture.
another Metallica.
The worst part was all my looking up of trying to find these songs on the internet.
I know.
As I found that he was trying to bring Chris Gaines back.
Oh yeah, 2015. Apparently, he said something about it, but
yeah. Well, thank God that was too.
I mean, if he does it in
I hope it doesn't happen.
I think that if he does it in a, if he leans into the joke and does like this is Spinal Tap thing
or something,
like a full-on Spinal Tap like treatment of it, I think it would be great. I think it'd be hilarious, but like it doesn't seem like he really has much of a sense of humor about it. You know, he doesn't want to talk about it. You know,
well, it's
he's embarrassed by it, which is, you know, that's fair. But like,
have you ever seen interviews with Mark Wahlberg? They try and bring up Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, and he just stops interviews on the spot.
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk about it.
It's like, all right, we're done here.
Like just done, clams up, and just done with it.
Which is like, I don't know. I feel like
it's a whole thing.
I feel like you have to be able to at least deflect those kinds of questions, you know, or you know,
have an answer for it.
But like, you know, it is a weird thing, and it's, you know, sometimes you take missteps as an artist, and that's, you know, that's okay. But I think that he really
he overdid it.
I think his audience was just so fucking confused.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
still
really
confused
listening.
Everyone is still confused. No one knows.
The worst part is when you look at the results. The results are that it was still a number 2 selling album for a couple weeks.
One of them
because
was a hit.
Everybody was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so good," and then they bought it and listened to it, and they're like,
Never mind.
Well, and this is we have to mention this is pre-internet too. So if you saw the pre
I was
going to say was it everywhere.
No, I was going to say was it pre-internet because he mentions in one of his songs about how the internet is ruining the this generation and shit like that.
Oh, really?
It's his fake cover. It's his fake cover, dude.
Yeah. That's coming up. Yeah. I think that this is before like cable internet was like a regular thing in households.
Yeah.
This is like AOL days. So this is before you could probably like just run on Wikipedia and be like, Chris Gaines, who the fuck is this? He could probably get away with something kind of like this. But nowadays, no way. People would facial recognition your fucking picture, and they'd be like, oh yeah, that's that actor. We're actually going to take a quick break. That was track 7. And in order to get to the track you were talking about, Trevor, we have to take a break. And
I need one. I need to
This is an album you should take breaks from.
Or have some paint or
do something.
I don't know.
Do whatever you gotta do. I'm not gonna judge.
Pick a
vice. That's fine.
Pick a vice, whatever vice. Hey, we throwing vices
need a break,
out
guys.
like the candy here.
Kind of. I was gonna say kind of like Garth Brooks and his wife.
Let's take it. All right, that's what we're going on, everybody.
My apologies to the Brooks family.
We'll be back.
We'll be right back with the album concept
hour. We do love you. We just hate this. We'll be back.
The album concept hour.
Brad's Uncle Sketch here with Anchor Ad Iteration 7. I'm recording this way ahead of time, so it's actually July for me, and I'm sipping margaritas poolside right now. But I understand this is going to air during the winter, so to try to keep it on theme, I'll try to add some holiday bullshit. Hold on, let's see. What we got here? Here we go. Ho, 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 everyone, and holly old season to download a completely free app. Oh, hell yeah. This holiday season, you can use your phone or computer to edit and distribute a podcast to put together some, weird holiday-themed podcast episode. Maybe you want to watch Die Hard with your friends and add some hot takes of your own to the conversation. I don't know. Excuse me, can I get another one of these? Sorry about that. Or maybe you want to talk about the Star Wars Christmas album with Brack. Who knows what you're into. Anyway, you can put your podcasts on listening platforms like Spotify, home to Joe Rogan's Hollowed Out Husk, Apple Podcasts, and more. And it's all in one place, which is the Anchor app. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Cannonball.
If this is a sample track, somebody needs to tell Chris Gaines what a sample is.
I agree. So we're going to get right back into the podcast. We're on the second half of the Chris Gaines, The Life of Chris Gaines by Garth Brooks. And
best hits, greatest hits.
Yeah, we were just talking about the greatest hits of Chris Gaines. Yes.
Oh my God.
That's what they keep telling us.
But we're getting into the second half of this album, and the next track we were talking about the sample that I believe I have in this clip. If I don't, whatever, it doesn't matter. But this is a very strange track, and we'll talk a little bit more about it after we listen to it.
Maybe it's the gangs or the colors that we're wearing. Or maybe it's a high schools, maybe it's a teachers, tattoos, pipe bombs underneath the bleachers. Maybe it's the music, maybe it's the crack, maybe it's the Bible, or could it be the lack?
Come on, people now, smile on me, brother, everybody get together, try to love.
What the fuck is this?
Why? It's like combining We Didn't Start the Fire with Come On People Now. And
it's like Rickrolling. Oh my God.
Mixing. It's like mixing water and oil. It doesn't work.
It is very abrupt.
Nuggets.
Like it's like he's got the entire 90s to draw from, right? Where sampling became very popular. Sampling was like huge in the 90s. And usually with a sample, you kind of change it up a little bit. You make it your own, you maybe add some elements to it, subtract some elements from it.
He added elements to everything else and then kept the same chorus.
He just takes the full chorus and just tosses it into this track. Just
that's what we can do.
If that's not
we got this. It's like we got this whole '90s rap track for us. But what can we do? Let's add this in. Hey, come on, people now.
Like,
smile on your brother. Everybody get together.
And it's so out of place too, because he talks about how like America's youth is like being ruined by the internet and all these other things. And he's like, well, let's have peace now.
Yeah, he's going on like an REM style rant about things. He says like, okay, here's just the first verse. I'm going to read the first verse in its entirety to give you a little feel for it. Maybe it's the movies, maybe it's the books, maybe it's the governments and all the other crooks. Maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's the parents, maybe it's the gangs or the colors that we're wearing. Maybe it's the high schools, maybe it's the teachers, tattoos, pipe bombs underneath the bleachers. Maybe it's the music, maybe it's the crack, maybe it's the Bible, or could it be the lack?
Is he referencing Columbine?
When was Columbine?
I don't know, like 90s.
That was like
90s. It was in April
90s?
20th, 1999. So
oh my goodness.
This is definitely was because this came out.
It was the same time frame either way.
Well, and he's mentioning like pipe bombs under bleachers and shit, like about talking to kids. I don't know, man.
I think it's because this came out in September of '99. So yeah, that's got to be the reference. He's just it's like a kind of rap thing, but not really.
Emphasis on thing.
It's like not really fully rap. It's just spoken word. It's not. But like I think that he thinks that it's rap.
It's just so out of. It's just so. The chorus just.
I don't know.
Oh,
this is just
so weird.
So many.
The first ever alternate rock, rap, emo, post, like whatever.
Was this him trying to?
He was willing to break new ground.
Yeah. This is basically the first Linkin Park. If you want to, if you think about it, guys, this is he's cutting edge with this song right now. I
cutting
just
teeth maybe.
Can't even. Sometimes it seems like he's making these songs in spite of someone. So I don't really know what that's about.
Wonder who that would be.
I don't know. Maybe there's some context clues you could use. But yeah, this next track is called Main Street, and it's not too bad. I gotta say, this is definitely one where he brought it back a little bit to like the previous sound. So here's Main Street.
Tomorrow stop coming with the dawn. My dreams I've seen, things that only seem to happen on the silver screen.
So does he do this kind of vocals in regular Garth Brooks?
No, he does not. This is not regular Garth.
He doesn't hit these. He doesn't hit those notes
ever.
Okay, it does seem like he's straining a little bit.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of technology behind this.
I was kind of thinking with this one,
this was never meant to be like sang in real life.
Right? There's only for the movie. But
never happened.
It never happened. But I think this is he's trying to maybe channel Bob Dylan. What do you guys think?
I don't even.
Bob Dylan kind of gets a little like that with his high notes.
So you're trying to say he got a little nasally or something?
Yeah,
it
seems
the
like
song we were talking about, that Alison Krauss song or whatever. Like,
this one was partially written by Kennedy, Wayne Kirkpatrick, Gordon Kennedy, and Trisha Yearwood, who is famous
God, yes!
for the song She's in Love with the Boy from 91. Yeah. She's in love with the boy.
Oh, wait, that's the woman he married, actually.
Ah.
That's the woman that he married after his divorce.
Maybe this is where the sparks come in a little bit. I don't know. But
that makes sense though.
Yeah. But it's a nice outside, if you take it outside of this album, it's a nice song about just kind of living in a small town and dreaming of the big life or the city life or whatever. It's on its own, it's not too bad, I don't think. What do you guys think?
Was not a fan.
It's not it's not the worst. But again, it's just straight like that. The line that you even captured there, like with, with your clip, that's very 90s. That's like straight across the board. Like,
it reminds me of another song that I am having such a hard time.
I know.
Every time.
Track.
I can hear the song in this, like I can from another 90s artist, but I cannot place the song.
It's like a girl. It's a girl singing it.
Yes, it is 100%.
And she kind of like drops a little bit. And yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Maybe it's instead of Dream Space, it's Dream State. I don't remember, but I know there's another version that I can
hear it in my head.
Yeah.
It's that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That's like the worst part about listening to this is it's like it's
compilation of that.
Yeah. You want to know what the tracks are that they're ripping off while you're hearing it. You're like, wait, isn't there a better version of this?
There is. Always is.
Yeah.
Especially with this album, there usually always is.
Yeah. Like the song right now. The original song is great, but thrown into the middle of a fucking weird
kind of rap
spoken word, whatever that was. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, we've got another track here. This is White Flag, and I believe this is him attempting kind of maybe like one last attempt at like saving the marriage. He has already met his future wife in the previous track, but like now sorry,
he's giving up.
This is fun.
He wants to give it one more shot. One more go.
Yeah, this is White Flag.
So before we lose it all, oh baby, set up a white flag.
I did want to
right back into that 90s sound.
Yeah, I picked that clip to emphasize
98 Degrees.
Yeah,
Sync, Backstreet Boys. So.
I was thinking kind of 80s for this one a little bit. Like Bon Jovi in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking with this track.
That's fair.
Fair. This is where he gets into his Bon Jovi period, I'm assuming, in the movie. Because, clearly his character was a cross between, like, I don't know, Bon Jovi and Chris Cornell. Even though Bon Jovi is, like, actually not that much of a girl chaser. He's not. He's like committed to his wife.
Quite committed, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. Just the amount of time he spent in the documentary talking about how much he loves women is. It gets really sus at a certain point. But this track, I love the bass playing. That's why I picked that clip. Is the bass player is on point regardless of what's going on around him. That's the best thing I can say about this track. Yeah, what do you guys think of this one though? You think it's
Yeah, I would agree with the Bon Jovi sound. It's definitely definitely just another end of the 80s, mid 90s, to mid 90s track. Just
another weird choice.
And again, just as a Garth Brooks fan, you got to point out it's just really weird, and it just
because I mean, from listening to Garth,
he wasn't just trying to do this as on his own either.
I forget, what was his big song?
Sorry, Trevor, what?
No. I was just saying, from listening to Garth Brooks from like going to this, it's wild.
Yeah. What was his big song again that people would know?
Oh, which one?
What's
the Thunder Rolls?
Yeah,
there's Low Places.
Low Places, that's the one. I got friends in low places.
Yeah. You can hear that little low note drop too. You heard that too, huh?
Yeah. Exactly. That's like it's part of why that song is great. Hold on, actually. Let's for just the sake of oh wait, of course it's not on Spotify.
No,
we established that Garth Brooks is not on Spotify.
Yeah.
But I want to hear his voice a little bit to kind of give the listeners like an example of like the vast difference between Garth Brooks and Chris Gaines.
You can probably find a clip on like YouTube or something.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he can't get everything off the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, here's a little bit of Friends in Low Places.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of the difference that we're getting between the two.
See that it's like, I guess, listenability and like how many times you could listen to it over. Like, I don't think there's a single song on this Chris Gaines album that I if I heard it one time in passing, I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay for the rest of my life. Like, I don't need to hear this.
And Brad's actually like some of these songs he's heard like 2 or 3 times now. And
it's, some of them
like he's already past it.
yeah. A few of these songs I liked on the first listen through, and then like the second and third, I'm like, these are
all right.
These are generic. Yeah,
that's pretty okay.
Enough.
But again, I mean, I'll say again though, like if they actually had a complete movie with a compelling story that you're connecting these songs
to, released by an artist that like was really trying to throw it into it.
Well, I think he did a fine job on the songs, but like it's just there's nothing to attach to these songs. They're just hits created in a vacuum, which is like, I don't know, never great.
Need the passion.
Yeah, like the only reason people like, I used to listen to That Thing You Do soundtrack because I loved the movie. But like some of those songs are like excessive. They go on too long. We should definitely do that.
We should definitely do that.
Well, I mean, honestly, just to show the kind of successful version of what this is attempting, because the reason you like the songs from That Thing You Do is because you connect to the characters and to the story that you enjoyed from the movie. So yeah, this is like a half idea that could have maybe been something, but out of context is like, what the hell? So again, he should have leaned into it, or he should have not done that fucking outfit that he did. Anyway, White Flag though. White Flag. He's waving a white flag to his wife. Lay these weapons down and call a truce. And I'll just say, within the context of what we know here and the next track, I don't think the White Flag is very sincere.
Also, was the last song that his future wife was on, like helping write? Was that the last song?
That was the last track.
That was the last track.
Oh, and then it's White Flag followed by the next track.
Yes,
which is like, no matter how you look at it, like either if it's the ex-wife or the future wife, it's not looking good. Somebody's
scummy.
So yeah, here's Digging for Gold, which I think gets to maybe the core of some of his insecurities.
Really digging for it.
Huh? Stay when that little queen had to give back her crown. He said, hey babe, we can live on love, 'cause love is worth much more. But he barely got his feelings out. She was halfway through the door.
See, what the fuck was that? That doesn't even sound like Garth Brooks. That just...
It's not Garth Brooks. It's Chris Gaines.
Yeah. You're confused. You're confused.
Right,
it's actually Chris Gaines.
It's Chris Gaines.
Yeah,
That is a weak track, Chris.
And he's so mad. He's so mad.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that verse in particular really paints a like awful picture of whoever the lady is in the situation. Black Tuesday, when the wall of wealth came crashing down. Bad news when the little queen had to give back her crown. And he said, "Hey babe, we can live on love because love is worth much more." But he barely got his feelings. She was halfway out. Feelings out. She was halfway out the door, and she never even heard him cry. That's
sad.
It's just the most like villainous portrayal of someone, and in the midst of like him going through a divorce, it doesn't look good. This is probably
he can't get rid of his country roots, I suppose, because I mean his like dog didn't leave in this one. His lady up and left him. His 4x4 broke.
Yeah, which is like, it's fine maybe within the context of like, I don't know, his genre before this, if that makes, I don't mean to throw shade, but like, it's just, it would have been more in the context of like country music. There's a lot of those types of songs, but within the context of like alternative rock, it's very like tone deaf.
It's very LeMay.
Yeah, because like if they want alternative people to like this, then they're not gonna that feminist element of the alternative movement's gonna be like, I'm not digging this. But yeah, I don't know. That's what it's just all over the place, guys. I know I keep saying this, but
it just is.
This album just leaves me continuously baffled. But yeah, we have a couple more tracks for you guys.
We have two more.
Maybe
two more, and then the pain is over.
Maybe this next track will be good, but we'll find out.
Keep hoping for that, Brad.
Yeah, well, maybe.
The later we get in the album.
Even though the bird has flown, maybe she'll fly. Excuse me if I'm keeping you apart from better conversation.
So let's just keep trying at tones that I can't reach.
One?
This son of a bitch.
Is this supposed to be his Poser Beatles one?
Yeah, this is. I mean, he even starts the song. The first lyric, I think, is "Yesterday." Wow. So if you wanted to even dig into it,
let's just keep trying to reach it. Stuff I can't do in concert.
Well, also there's a Beatles song called "Because." Hey. This is called "Maybe." I don't know. I think that this is absolutely an attempt at sounding like the Beatles. I mean, it's got that effect that you've only ever heard in Strawberry Fields and some other select Beatles songs.
True story.
Was Strawberry Fields written by Ringo? Were all of those other songs that were written by Ringo?
No, I don't think so.
Strawberry Fields is Lennon. That's Lennon, I believe. That's where he grew up. Is Strawberry.
I was gonna say if he was taken like from Ringo, sure, that would make sense. I would.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Who grew up in Strawberry Fields?
Hey, I mean, Ringo's got a few hits about some sea creatures. Like he's got the Yellow Submarine. That's a great one, Ringo.
Yeah.
Put it on the fridge.
We put that one on the fridge.
Poor
Very
Ringo.
good, Ringo.
I do gotta say, having watched the Get Back documentary, like he really is like a fucking mystery. Like he doesn't fucking talk like at all during that thing. He's kind of got like a mime.
He knows
kind of
he's the luckiest Beatle. He just sits there and plays his drums.
Well, apparently he almost left.
Every once in a while he sings.
He almost left one time too. He almost quit the Beatles too, and then apparently that's the story where what was it? I Get By with a Little Help from My Friends. That song.
Yeah,
that's where that comes from, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was the first Beatle to try to leave the Beatles. But also after the Beatles, he got very talkative. There's a lot of great interviews with Ringo. Anyway, the documentary Get Back just came out, so Beatles is definitely on the mind, and this track really was like a slap in the face. It's because, like, I mean, it's one thing to like invoke the sounds of other like '90s artists or whatever, but to just straight up like shit on the Beatles like this, it's just kind of like, I don't know, insult to injury, I guess. Also, maybe the bird has flown. Even though the bird has flown, maybe she'll fly on home. So, still not quite accepting the situation. But
will you make up your fucking mind? Do you want her back? Do you want to leave her? Do you want someone new? Like, fucking make up your mind.
Yeah.
Chris Gaines is in a real debacle.
Yeah, that's part of it's what's
he's not letting himself get out.
Yeah, he really needed to maybe have a follow up to this that was like
no,
not about any of this. I'm just saying the only way he could have gone is to lean into it or to like not ever have done that outfit. But at this point, when the outfit's out there, when the wig and the weird whatever he was doing was out there, it was like, yeah, I don't know. He really put himself in a bad spot with that fucking emo clown outfit.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Garth Brooks. I almost actually called him Chris Gaines. He tricked me. Garth Brooks. What are you thinking, guy? I know that you scrubbed it from the internet, but you know that stuff can never go away. I'm sorry it's like this, but it is. Anyway, we got one more track. Yeah.
Like we said too, I mean, it's like not every song is trash. It's just like some of the ways he went about it. It's just like, come on. Like he was onto something with like, okay, he could have done a full-blown cover of that one song, but like he didn't. He just like gave up halfway through. And it's like some like we said at the beginning, the first two songs really aren't all that terrible. They aren't the worst things I've ever heard. Like, you know, sung by anyone else, I would totally get down to it. But it's like
earns its reputation in the latter half of the album for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if this was like just a short little EP or something, like it would be fantastic. Every track would be like great, you know.
Well, and like you said at the beginning when we were recording, as a short album, this had potential to be like it had potential to be a solid like short album.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Half-hour album, shorten up the tracks, shorten up the songs. It had potential.
Definitely. Like there's some good spots in here.
Yeah.
But just overall, like the execution is just so strange. And it obviously tanked his career for a few years. So, you know, it was.
Well, he retired. So, I mean, he was only ever featured after that. I mean, or he was only ever doing features after that.
Yeah.
I don't even think he released any singles after that, did he, John?
No, actually, yes. After he did this, this was like 99. Mm-hmm. And after he did this, he didn't release any albums. He didn't really release any singles. He retired, actually, until like 2006. So I still blame this for his stuff.
He was on features though, correct?
Yeah.
Mostly featuring on stuff.
But like he was retired.
As
a solo artist.
Yeah.
So like 2005, 2006.
So a weird way to go out with that particular.
Well, like I don't think he meant to go out. I think he meant for this to be much bigger than it was, and then he was like, "Wow, I probably shouldn't. I should probably give myself some space."
I think he was probably very embarrassed by it. If I'm being honest, I think that he was. Yeah, I mean, especially the fact that he has pretty much scrubbed the internet from this. Scrubbed this from the internet. You know what I mean? So we have one more track though. This is My Love Tells Me So. I think this was probably meant for the credits. So here's My Love Tells Me So.
That's what
My love tells me so. Two hearts can be one together. My love tells me so.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's the happy ending.
Yeah,
everything's done.
I feel like the last track is
you got the tracks flying past. You're just listening to some pop music to get you through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the last track, like the previous track is like the end of the maybe story, and then this is like the credits. But yeah, I mean,
this is one with the super long fade out now, isn't it?
Oh yeah. This has
the whole album.
really
he had an opportunity
to
do regular fade outs.
Yeah,
he had whole opportunity to do regular fade outs, and then the last song he finally does what he should have been doing this whole album.
Yeah, he has a couple abrupt fade outs. Like there's a few songs here that like should have had a definitive end but like didn't, Yeah, very strange. And yeah, I mean there's not really a resolution to this I don't know, panning after a lost love essentially the entire time. Yeah, I can see why maybe some of this didn't work.
This man needs to be booed for this.
Yeah, and I think he has been probably.
I think he has been.
Yeah.
He has been chastised for this once or twice.
This has been over 20 years ago that he made this, and I still haven't forgiven him.
Never forget.
None of us have forgiven him.
Never forget Chris Gaines.
I'm glad this is over. I'm glad we did this. And I'm glad it's over.
I know. It's something we had to do. It was the original ad that we threw out there.
Did we have to? It
had to happen, Trevor. This is the album concept hour. We don't
right.
just do stuff that we like.
50
we
minutes
do stuff that's necessary.
But it's 50 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
And you know what, Trevor?
Plus, you talked about it for like 2 hours.
And you know what, Trevor? That makes you an official cast member of the album concept hour.
Yes.
You have passed the absolute test.
That's true.
You have done an album that you hate.
Yeah.
And you have made it through to the other side, and you did it. You did it consistently, concisely, and you had some positive thoughts. Nice work.
Yes, good job,
Trevor. You are an official cast member.
Thank you, Trevor.
Of the album
so much,
concept
Trevor.
album.
Yes.
You
made it through.
You did it.
You made it through.
An album that you hated, and you made it through.
Yeah.
This is just it hurt my soul to listen to this.
Inception.
Yeah.
This is your inception.
I'm gonna be glad to not listen to this anymore.
Ever.
Yeah, I'm
again.
super happy that I will never, and you know what? This is going to solidify my just overall, whenever like anyone is like trying to tell me that they only listen to good music, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'll listen to like real country music, like Garth Brooks and stuff like that. My favorite thing is to always bring up Chris Gaines, and this has just solidified it. This has just solidified everything.
Listen, Garth Brooks is still good as an artist. This is a black mark.
Yeah, you heard of Chris Gaines?
About.
You heard of Chris Gaines, John?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Chris Gaines?
Yeah.
No.
We will have to talk about. We'll maybe have to cover Garth Brooks at some point that we can
Yeah, sure. Show if you can find
what was possible.
Albums,
yeah. No. I remember like listening to this album or like listening to this this song like at work today. So it was one of the ones that came through, and I was like, no, Chris Gaines, we're done with you. The dream is over.
It was right. Yeah, this is kind of because he does say in this track, what was it? I'll be coming back real soon.
And I was like, no, you won't. No, you won't. Not at all.
Yeah, it's like
Not
Garth,
all.
I don't know if you know what you're getting into here. Sorry, Garth Brooks. There's always missteps, and we finally
made a big one.
That was the concept this week is what happens when the concept does not fully follow through.
To fruition.
Yeah, definitely. It's
no, he brought it to fruition, but it was a concept of a person that was supposed to be alive.
And nothing came the fruition of the person, of the whole idea as a concept itself did not come to realization.
Yeah. The wig, man. The wig. Never again, Garth. But yeah, we have one more little thing we do before we get out of the podcast, and that is a little section called plugs. And we are going to do our plugs and what we have been listening to lately. I will start. I have been listening to what have I been listening to? A lot of comedy Bang Bang. They got the best of going on right now. So if you're a comedy fan and you want to listen to some great improv comedy from that one TV show from IFC, there's the best ofs, and you can kind of find out what the really good sections of those are. Although I think there's already probably people that are listening to this that already are listening to Comedy Bang Bang. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts though. So as far as my plugs, I'm going to say please go on over to Flyover State TV on YouTube or Flyover State Park and give us a like or subscribe on anything really. We're getting really close on Flyover State Park to be able to customize our URL so we can actually have a URL to point to rather than a bunch of weird numbers and letters. So please go like and subscribe any of those YouTube channels. And I will be, I'm putting out YouTube stuff pretty regularly at this point. So check out any of the weird music videos that I've put together while I was bored and didn't want to mix this podcast. What about you, John? What have you been listening to, and what do you got to plug?
Well, I've been listening to a lot of Huey Lewis in the News.
All right.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I like to get into that 80s sometimes, especially like, a little Phil Collins and Genesis kind of stuff,
Yeah.
It's just, it's just every once in a while, it's just a little thing with me, and I've been on that for the last, 2 weeks.
Nice. All right, yeah.
Every time I hear Huey Lewis, I always think about American Psycho every single time.
I was thinking about Back to the Future.
Yeah, I usually think Back to the Future, but yeah, American Psycho.
That works.
Did you guys see the video where Huey Lewis and Weird Al are hanging out?
No.
And Weird Al or
awesome.
Huey Lewis does the American Psycho part, and Weird Al is the guy sitting on the couch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really it's great. You should check it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I forget what the punchline is, but it's just fun seeing them just act it all out.
I mean, speaking of that, everybody listen to Weird Al. Weird Al's great.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, everyone go out and see Spider-Man 3 because we can all talk about it on the internet. Then just do it.
That's true. Yeah. Because you have to avoid if you're a fan, you have to avoid the entire internet until you see it. So
it's great.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
It's fun.
There's a couple of moments that are
it's a fun one.
For the most part, it's pretty great.
Yeah. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And plus it's after opening weekend, so there's less people, less of that Omicron going around, which is nice. Speaking of which, podcast reminder: go get your shot if you haven't yet, or if you can. And if you've got your shots, look into the booster too, because that stuff is very important. And I understand that there are some out there that don't think it is, but that's just got to be hearsay. What about you, Trevor? Though, what have you been listening to? What do you got to plug?
Oh man, I've been actually listening to a lot of music lately. So I've been listening to Freddie Gibbs and Danny Brown a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie Gibbs rocks. Yeah.
Yes. And then
Danny Brown rocks too.
Yeah.
Freddie Gibbs rocks.
Yeah. Fuck with them a lot. So I've been listening to them a lot recently. And then also on Spotify, Quentin Tarantino released a thing with all of the music, music from his movies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
It's 3.5 hours long of just music that has popped up or pieces that he's or music that he's approved of, I guess. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But so it's I've been listening to that a lot.
Yeah.
It's been really, really good. And then that's pretty much been it. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else to plug.
Man, we definitely got to do a Tarantino soundtrack though. We've only done children's movie soundtracks. At some point we have to do an adult movie soundtrack. Maybe that will be the one of the Tarantino ones will be the next one. I'm sure Dave will be super excited about one of those I mean, anyone that's a Tarantino fan knows that, like, that's one of the best things he does in his movies is the music. So,
yeah. And I was actually wrong. So it's Quentin Tarantino, music from the films of Quentin Tarantino, and it's 5 hours and 40 minutes long.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a shitload of music that he has had in his movies and stuff like that. Like, there's a ton of stuff in here. Like, you got Bullwinkle, part 2, ton of other stuff though, and it's so righteous.
Awesome.
If you like Quentin Tarantino, I highly recommend that.
Well, yeah, he's always right on the money with music too. So, like, that's going to be a fun soundtrack.
Exactly. Like, you get to hear songs too that you're like, oh damn, I didn't realize that's what it was. Like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, definitely. There's like I always there are definitely songs where you find out later that they're like important for some reason or another, and he's just got a great taste in all that stuff. Cool. Everyone else, thank you all for listening to the podcast. Thank you for trucking through this the life of Chris Gaines. We can finally
really
put it behind us.
Appreciate you peoples.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next week we will definitely have something that's hopefully a little better than what we're working with today. So
find the good in this album. If
we're gonna need a good one next week for sure.
That's the biggest takeaway. Just find a little bit of good in this album.
Listen to like the first 3 tracks, skip on over to Main Street, and then jump on out.
Just like tune out for portions of it, like, tune back into the stuff you like,
and Trevor, thank you for being the OG.
Thanks for
on
doing
this
it.
One,
yes,
by the way.
thank you, Trevor.
I know how much you hated this. Thank you for really.
It was great. I got to spend time with you guys. It was just fine.
Yeah. Thanks. It was fun. Yeah. We got through it. And
Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New Year! Yes, that's right.
Happy
New Year's. Hopefully, 2022 is hunky dory. Yes, to a better 2020 something.
Can't be much worse.
Don't say that's fine.
Fireworks!
All right, well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will catch you guys next time on the Album Concept Hour. The Album Concept Hour is Brad LeBaron, Dave Gallagher, John Aker, and Jake the Snake Foster. Special thanks to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard for the theme music. Join the discussion on our Discord, tweet to us at Album Concept Pod, or for everything else, go to Linktree/Flyover State Park. See you on Side B. This is Flyover State Park. You are clear to land.